So this is the self-development with tactics. Book. So today the second episode is gonna be all about some Reddit things, and it is probably, I don't really know, but it is probably gonna be about either stoicism or philosophy in general, besides quite a few other things, I guess. I don't know. But I don't know, I think there is some beauty to just going through Reddit things. I kind of really enjoy that. Yeah, that's it. I just really like going through it, even though sometimes I kind of feel like that I am not providing as much value as I could, or well, actually wanted to, but yeah. Is it okay to feel good about something you don't know the results of? This year I'm applying to the Texas Academy of Math and Sciences, and in order to do so, I had to take my SAT in my sophomore year of high school. I feel like I have a really good chance of getting in based on my grades, and I felt very good about my SAT. I don't, however, know what my transcript will look like at the end of the year. Calculus is kicking my butt, and I still don't know the results of my SAT, but I feel like I really have a shot. People tell me to keep my expectations low, but I'm not able to. Is that a bad thing? Well, I mean, something you can apply to that is amor fati, you know? Love, faith, love your faith. If you're able to just, if you get the shot, if you're able to get into this Academy of Math and Science, then it is a cool thing. But if you're not, then it's also not like, I don't know, you're dying and really tough shit. And I think with expectations, it is a fucked up thing. Like, it really depends on what word you're using. When we think about goals, yes, really have big goals. When we are thinking about I think it really depends on what words you're using. So when we talk about goals, yes, really have big goals, because if you have big goals, then the chance of you getting very, 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 very high things, meaning if you go for the moon, the chance that you hit a star is way higher than if you go for a star to hit the moon. It's basically impossible, quite. And I think this is the case with goals. When we talk about expectations, I don't really believe that having really, really, really high expectations is a good thing, because of course you're going to be crushed, I don't know how big the chance is, I don't know, whatever, but I don't know, like, it is also a stoic thing to visualize bad things happening to you, somebody dying and whatnot, so that you are prepared for these events to come. Because maybe it is going to come, maybe it's not going to come, but you're going to be prepared for it, which is an amazing thing, which is pretty cool and useful, and it makes sense. So maybe also do that, to just kind of visualize that you're not going to get into this academy. And yeah, but I would in general say that having high expectations is not pretty good. Like, expectations is, yeah, it's a fucked up place to be in, then, I would say. Anyone else get heart palpitations at night? No. Do you like to reminisce on when you made a group of people laugh at a joke you made? Social skills is actually one that I should also go through. So let's open another tab and then see through it. Is there something else? Get disciplined, confidence, therapy. Well, deleted Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and Facebook 4 days ago. Can't remember the last time I felt this content with my life. I do actually want to point out that I kind of felt similar when I wasn't just, texting anybody, when I was not in any conversation with anybody. You do really indeed feel pretty content and pretty, you kind of feel a life differently. You feel your life, and things do not seem to be that fast. And everything is quite different, but I don't know. Like, I mean, there's benefits and or upsides and downsides of whatever the fuck you're doing. Of course, there is going to be upsides of just taking steroids, but there's also going to be downsides. There's also going to be downsides of drinking a lot of water due to just you flushing out all the minerals, maybe. And yeah, there's a lot of things to think about, and a lot of things to have in mind and to consider, and it's always like pro and con, and yes, totally something to keep in mind. Small acts can bring change. When Christopher Reeve was in the hospital after the the riding accident that paralyzed him, Robin Williams burst through the door wearing scrubs and announced in a Russian accent that he was a proctologist and needed to examine him immediately. Reeves said it was the first time he had laughed since the accident, and from that moment on he knew that life was going to be okay. Just be a nice person. Just be a nice person. Well, I do have to record a few other episodes, I think, today as well. I have to actually write it down. I do want to talk about being too nice. Being too nice. Because I kind of feel like that it is something that I'm struggling with and that I am haunted by actually as well. You know, because I immediately thought like, well, there is some areas of my life where I can be even nicer. And the problem there is that yes, I could do that, you know, and I could be that, but is it going to make things worse for me and or for the other person indeed as well? But essentially for me, I don't know, I don't know. Let's see. Haruko is almost done in 3 to 4 ways, or weights. A pretty great typography. I enjoy it. I really do. Why PewDiePie and MrBeast are marketing geniuses. I've spent a lot of time analyzing both PewDiePie and MrBeast, and the two most dominant creators on YouTube. These guys are absolute masters at capturing attention. It's actually a really interesting read there, so I'm actually going to go through it. Besides mastering the CTR and watch time optimizations that all YouTubers do, I have identified 4 pillars that PewDiePie and MrBeast use to recruit, retain, and expand their follower base. So here's a summary of what I learned. Pillar 1, make them participate. PewDiePie engages a lot with his fans on YouTube. He mentions their comments in his videos and takes recommendations into account, like which game he should play next. He also features the creation of his community in his video series LWIAY or LWI, if you know shit. MrBeast goes even further and directly flies his subscribers to feature them in his videos. He spends a lot of money on his fans. In one of his latest videos, he gave one of his subscribers the choice between getting a Lamborghini or a house. Another way to increase participation is to start a common project with your fellows or followers. Something cool that both PewDiePie and MrBeast did is that they raised millions of dollars for charity using their platform. MrBeast and his army even recently launched a big campaign to plant 20 million trees and receive blah 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 from the likes of Elon Musk. Pillar 2, reinforce loyalty. Loyalty comes from trust, and trust comes from being authentic and delivering quality for a consistent amount of time. Every brand wants to maintain and ideally grow the loyalty of their audience and customers. It's a success metric. Think about what differentiates Apple from other companies. The biggest sign of loyalty I've seen on the web in the past few years was during the battle between PewDiePie and T-Series, an Indian media company for the #1 spot on YouTube. It became a worldwide phenomenon, and his army was there all the way to support him for months in this war. Creating an enemy is actually an extremely powerful way to rally your troops, but not everyone can orchestrate such an epic event that lasts months, especially given the fact that T-Series mostly ignored PewDiePie, so he created the biggest clash in the history of YouTube and maybe even of the internet by himself. And there's something funny, I guess, you know, looking back into propaganda and wars, there has always been an opponent, and the opponent was bad, and the opponent was the worst person there actually is, and you made people really, really, really hate your opponent, you know, which actually drove the war and was good for the war then. Just something that I've realized, to be honest. That takes a lot of skills, and that takes a loyal fan base. The genius of PewDiePie was to create a narrative of a gigantic war, and because he already used to call his subscribers his bro army, which it is an old thing. It really is, you know, just because I know it is an old thing. It's nothing that he quote unquote utilized, I think, in this period of time. But anyway, the result, he gained 30 million subscribers in 8 months, which is insane. Pillar 3, Call to action. You see so many YouTubers asking you to like, comment, and subscribe at the end of their videos. PewDiePie and MrBeast are no exceptions. However, the way they do it is what is interesting. They build a unique relationship with their fans, and because they are entertainment channels, they often use humor to convince you to subscribe. For example, in nearly every single video, MrBeast leaves an original pinned comment asking people to subscribe. These comments generate a lot of engagement. The fourth pillar is engage beyond YouTube. Even though YouTube is their primary source of activity, both of them understood the importance of building multi-streams of traffic. PewDiePie has an incredibly engaged community on Reddit. He has one of the most active subreddits with more than 3 million subscribers there. His fans create memes every day and regularly reviews them in videos and gives them shoutouts. That is how he keeps the community alive. He empowers them to continue, which I think is important. MrBeast takes a different approach. He engages his followers beyond YouTube by giving them ways to participate. He often creates random challenges like this one on TikTok where he asked people to guess how many jelly beans there were in that jar, and he got close to 1 million comments. On Twitter, he can do something like giving $10,000 to random people who retweet one of his tweets. People get obsessed with this sort of stuff. MrBeast is like a lottery, both financially and from an entertainment perspective. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions. I make more analysis like this one on my YouTube channel at Sauerbeck-Stark, SAD or CAURBEK-STARK. If you are into that stuff, maybe you can check it out. I try to make good quality videos, spend 50 hours on each one. Lol. I don't think these people are marketing geniuses. They are simply doing a lot with what they have. No, I don't think so. I do really believe that, and well, I do believe they know stuff. Well, just, you know, maybe going for they are geniuses is a bit too much and a bit too big, but they clearly know what the fuck they're doing. They clearly fucking know that. You know, I do have a certain feeling that they just know that, and I would also argue that everyone that is pretty big on any platform just knows things. You know, if they then say or would you know, if they then would say that they are good at marketing, I wouldn't necessarily say so, because I mean, it is marketing, but they don't necessarily know that it is marketing. It's just how this platform is working and how they're doing things. And yeah, so maybe if you ask people, they're not going to say, okay, I'm a marketing genius, but they would rather say, okay, I just know how this platform is working. I know what's going on quite. But yeah, let's also actually have a look at social skills. Join the official Discord server. No. Could you please go away? Yeah. If you want confidence, stop relying on your imagination for perception and start relying on your senses. Like, use your senses to figure out if you're doing something wrong. Don't ask your imagination. Your senses never ever lie to you, as well as feelings, by the way. I try to stop caring how people perceive me, but now I'm an asshole. But now, am I an asshole? Events. So I've grown up being weird and ugly. School was people bullying me and making fun of my appearance and everything else about me. I was feeling worthless and despising myself. I was suicidal and self-harmed throughout. It's actually a very, very, very long. I mean, let's actually go through the comments, because I guess there are the answers to that. Doesn't sound like what you're doing is bad. Just make sure you're not going too far. You can be assertive while still being friendly, and not suffering fools is something we should all do, really. I wish I did that a little more. Just remember, sometimes people don't like being called on their bullshit. To be honest, I would choose respected for being straight. To be honest, I would choose respected for being straight with people over being liked by everyone. Yeah, quite as well. I would, well, even though it is a difficult thing, like, I like being liked by people. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a little bit of an asshole. I'm a pushover and I wish I was more of one. Like you, I feel like I can overdo it. The goal, though, is to show that you aren't a pushover, but not be mean. How you say it matters a lot. Voice inflection, body language, and words you choose matter. Even then, some people, especially assholes, don't like being called out on their shit. I do really want to point out that yes, I would say, I mean, there is some percentage, that your tonality is this amount of the message and whatnot. But I would totally say how you say things is one of the most important things that fucking is. You know, if you're saying something, even though it is something not offensive, not bad, not whatever, but you're saying it in a bad way, and you're saying it in a way that's just not good, it can be just perceived as something that is bad, or something that makes you just look like an asshole. Not something amazing. Just clearly not something amazing. So yeah, maybe this is also something to go through. I can actually push out a few episodes because I need them so that I don't have to record during the episode, I guess. There's another comment actually. Oh boy, it is a fine line, isn't it? If what you're saying is right, I'll straight up say you're not the arsehole. We live in a world full of other assholes whom are only motivated by self-interest. I know the feeling you're expressing. I used to be the nice guy, not that creepy nice guy. I'd go out of my way to help anyone and try to be the person I could be to my friends. Yet, somehow I felt like I was the arsehole when I was going through a time where I needed the support of my friends and it was nowhere to be found. I'm 36. I have discovered that the best thing I can do is pick between 1 to 3 very close friends who are perhaps broken in some way, as me. I'm ASD, whatever level previously known as Asperger's, so most people have no freaking idea how I see the world, except for those clinically trained. But those few friends, I truly savor and value their friendship because I know they get me as close as what is possible to their level of unique or brokenness. I've been in your situation too, where I've treated people in a way they have treated me and I'm the asshole. I have no answer to solve this. I wouldn't do so. There's no point for me in doing so. Don't treat people like they treat you. Don't be an asshole, period. Now, having said all of this, I used to be, I guess, attractive and quite skinny guy in my mid-20s. Now I'm feeling like a fat mid-30s dude and extremely unattractive. I'm not sure if it is my imagination or not. Despite my conflicted views here, the one thing I can say is don't compromise yourself ever beyond a professional level to achieve a long-term desired outcome ever. If that outcome is a part of possible desirable outcome, work towards it, but some other stuff on hold if need be. Your real friends will understand. Sorry in advance if this makes little to no sense. I'm tired and bouncing off the walls as I type this. Proofreading isn't my strongest skill. I think it was fine, by the way. But what I have to say is, I think being nice is important. Being nice and kind and a generous person is one of the most important things there is. On the other hand, and it is something that I've been talking about just way too often, and I really have to dedicate an episode to that specifically, being too nice might not get you to the goals you want to get to because of certain reasons. I mean, when it is about women, could be the case. When it is about just whenever you're having something to do with other people, maybe being too nice of a person can just slow your progress. But the problem and or the another thought that you really have to keep in mind is this going to really just diminish my efforts in the long term, or if it is also or only going to do that in the short term? Meaning, when it, for example, is about women, okay, I'm a nice person and so on and so on and so on. Is this going to make my chances lower and or worse in the long term? I don't necessarily think so, actually. In the short term, yeah, maybe, maybe. The assholes get the girls and whatnot, and or the bitches get the man and all sorts of that shit. But let's think about the fucking long term, Let's don't think about the fucking short term. Something to really keep in mind in my point of view, but I really gotta have to talk about and do some research on, because it is something that I'm quote unquote struggling and or just thinking about quite often. But yeah. With that being said, I'm going to end the episode. So I wish you the best health, wealth, happiness, and also success. And also hope that you're going to remind yourself and you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy and basically means just being a nice person and then being remembered as a nice person, which is a pretty fucking cool thing. 3 other questions that I might have you are, why are you here? What are you trying to change and what is bothering you the most? These 3 questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea, which is also a pretty cool thing. One last thing that I'm going to give you is, what could you essentially say to another person that is indeed going to change their life. Because I totally believe that we all can say something, we all can communicate something that is going to change somebody's life. But yeah, I'm gonna see you next time. Bye bye. Please take care of yourself, your loved ones, and family members. And yeah, bye bye.